After so many months of trying to make things work, of trying to understand why there's emotional distance, why they've withdrawn from the relationship months before it ends, the uncertainty, the overwhelming anxiety that comes with not understanding why they're doing this, why they feel this way, why after things have been so perfect that they want to get out of this relationship. And I know that you're worried that they won't miss you, that they don't love you anymore, that they won't want you back. And in this video, I hope to clear up a few things to help you understand, one, why this has happened, and two, what it really means and what they're thinking. Now, this is a common misconception, but avoidants do not leave you because they don't love you. They leave you because of emotional overwhelm. Avoidant attachment is basically a fear of vulnerability. They don't know how to sit within commitment because their wounds, their past, tells them that being in an emotionally vulnerable commitment relationship is unsafe. They value their independence above everything else because their emotional vulnerability in the past was used against them. They couldn't depend on anyone because they had emotional neglect, hence why their avoidant attachment style started to begin with. So when they're with you and they fell in love with you, that goes against everything they've ever known. And it's real to them. The feelings they have, the way they feel about you, is real. It is just that their attachment wounds get in the way of them being able to show up in the same reciprocated way that you do. And over time, usually within months or even sometimes years into the relationship, that fear and anxiety starts to build and muster and makes them become distant. Because what it's trying to do is convince them that this connection, this way they feel within themselves, is about the relationship, is about this dynamic between you and this person. When in reality, that is not the case. It's just the fear and anxiety trying to convince them that they need to run away because this feeling needs to end. So most of the time when avoidants leave, it's not because they don't love you, it's because they're trying to run away from that overwhelming feeling that comes with being with you. Not because of you, but because of what's happened to them. And I see many people say, well, why don't they just stay? Why don't they try to move past that feeling and make it work? For an avoidant, that's a lot easier said than done because this emotion, this fear and anxiety is overwhelming, truly. For an avoidant, their mind is constantly in fight or flight. They try to make it work and they try to stay and sit in the discomfort because they know this is what they want, logistically. Emotionally, they get swayed because they manipulate themselves and convince themselves that this relationship isn't right for them. And this is where things get interesting because most people don't understand what happens after an avoidant leaves you. When avoidants leave, it's not as simple as they forget, they move on, they no longer think about you. They usually enter a phase that we call delayed reaction. And what this is they don't expect to feel the loss, the grief of losing you, of no longer having you in their life. And more often than not, they try to distract themselves with new events, parties, people, maybe even more hours at work, to distract themselves from the feelings that come with losing you. Immediately after they leave you, they will feel this sense of weight lifted off their shoulders, and they think that feeling will last, but it never does. All that does is release that feeling of anxiety and fear that they had in the relationship. And over time, the logistic clarity overrides the emotions that once were on an all-time high, because they will baseline again. And once they do, that's when they realize what the truth is. That the relationship was never the issue, that the dynamic you two share was never the problem. It was an internal issue. And that's where things get interesting, because in this stage, that's where the avoidant is faced with a crossroads, whether they choose to continue this path of independence and not enter the relationship again, or they try to come back. Now, this phase doesn't typically happen quickly because the avoidant has to muster the confidence to approach you again, knowing they've hurt you, knowing they've had the guilt of leaving the relationship. So if they do want to reconciliate or at least recommunicate with you again, it's going to happen very slowly. Now, for avoidance, they usually do this in the form of breadcrumbing. Now, what that is they'll send you a message or maybe an email, anything to get hold of you that's small and not vulnerable. It would be something lighthearted like, hey, how are you? Now, this is some form of a test. It's not manipulation, but it's them trying to see if that door for reconnection is still open. Otherwise, they will not re-engage because they will not put themselves in an emotionally vulnerable situation that makes them feel unsafe. And although it's a small thing, it requires a lot of effort from the avoidant because they avoid. Now, as someone that has been in avoidant dynamics and quite hard ones, I would say there's a lot of advice I can give you in this stage that you're currently in. Now, of course, you miss them. You want them back because the relationship was good outside of the avoidant tendencies. What is it you truly want? Does your ex-partner display the attributes and qualities that you want in a long-term relationship or even marriage? Does the way they respond or behave align with you? These questions really matter because we can find ourselves in attachment loops where we miss the avoidant but not for the right reasons. It can be because of validation, it can be because we simply miss being cared for, or simply because we like having someone to go through life with, regardless of how they treat us? This question matters more than anything because it reveals what the truth of your dynamic is. If you find yourself being more anxiously attached to this person, you need their validation, you need them around because you miss them, but not because of the actual connection that you shared or the daily routines or habits you had together, but because of the way you felt around them. And that points to something larger that needs to be addressed, and it's that you could be anxiously attached to this person. Now, that's not inherently wrong, but it does mean you can become blinded by their actual qualities and the way you feel around them. I know, because I've been there. And you can continue with this person and get back with them, but realize quickly that this actually is not right for you. And when that baseline feeling comes, when you're actually calm and there's no chaos, but the connection feels off, then you know you're in the wrong place. I also want to ask you this very important question. If your avoidant doesn't show healing over a long period of time, they don't show accountability, they don't show pattern recognition, or even a want to heal, do you want to continue this relationship for years potentially to come? Because the one thing that matters more than anything for avoidance in particular is their ability to have accountability and to try and heal. Otherwise, you'll forever be in a loop of an avoidant anxious dynamic where they leave, you get anxiously attached, and you're on this on and off, hot and cold loop where they leave and they come back and you're left and hurt and confused. You don't want that. No one wants that. Now back to the real question. Will your avoidant miss you? The real answer is yes. But the real question behind everything is whether they are able to heal or choose you fully. Because many avoidants do leave and can't face themselves or their emotions and no longer return. Don't want reconciliation because they can't face themselves. And many others do come back and do try. Now, beyond everything, it's up to you whether you want this. It's up to you whether you can actually deal with the uncertainty, with trying to actually understand what is going on. Because this isn't going to be easy for you. I won't sugarcoat that. Avoidant attachment isn't something easy to coexist with. But if you're willing to have that understanding and patience and uncertainty at times, it can work. If you are interested, on my TikTok I have a link in my description for one-to-one calls. If you want to speak to me directly about your situation and your ex, I can help you out. My TikTok handle is the same as my YouTube's, so if you just search it up, you'll find it. But I can't stress enough. Please always prioritize yourself, because this dynamic can affect your well-being. It can also distort your version of what a real relationship looks like. I really hope this was helpful to you in some way. If it was, I would massively appreciate it if you subscribed. I make videos like this every single day, so if you're interested or you want to learn more, check out my channel. I've got plenty of videos on avoidant attachment. Just look after yourself.